The game's the game. Yeah? That's a step. A fight's a fight. No. Don't worry about it. It's a step over. It's done. What I'm saying now is all bets are off.
Conor has that, and Tony has the task of having to do that with Conor. He has to make sure that he uses that fire and that aggression and that real will to win in the right pattern.
I'm going for a lot for Conor Ben with the spitefulness and the hatred that he has. And I know when you really dislike someone, it brings something out of you. But I'm
an entertaining matchup. It's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability.
Playing a blinder for the promotion of the fight. I mean, a little bit annoying. I mean, unfortunately, if I could fight, I'd want to give him a slap myself, but that's not going to happen. So, Conor's fired up. I mean, honestly, I've never seen someone put themselves through what he is putting himself through in training camp. He's going to be like a caged animal when that bell goes on April 26th. A big disadvantage in size, but he makes up for it in attribute, hunger, youth, tenacity, volatility, and he is in camp with his dad, grafting and dreaming every day of violating Chris Eubank Jr. on April 26th and doing it in spectacular fashion. And
Stephen A. Smith has voiced strong opinions cautioning Gervonta Davis against a rematch with Lamont Roach. "That should have been a knockdown," he exclaimed. "Having said that, let me stand up. Shannon, I got to apologize on national television to that brother Lamont Roach. I didn't give him much of a chance in this fight because I thought he was the smaller guy moving up. I didn't expect him to be in the ring bigger, and from the opening bell, he walked right to Tank Davis. I was stunned. And the brother can fight. I'm very impressed with Lamont Roach. He put on a great performance, and he wants his love on national television right now. We need to give it to him. This brother is special for the sport of boxing. He can fight, and he can take a punch." Stephen A. Smith recently apologized to Lamont Roach after underestimating him in his fight against Gervonta Tank Davis. Initially, Smith believed Roach was too small to compete, but after witnessing his performance, where he pressured Davis throughout the fight, Smith admitted he was wrong. He acknowledged Roach's resilience and fighting ability, especially after Davis took a knee in the 9th round, citing hair grease in his eyes. Smith now recognizes Roach as a formidable fighter and looks forward to a potential rematch later this year. "What I didn't know is that once Lamont Roach stepped into the ring, he would be the bigger fighter. What I didn't know is that once he was in the ring and he looked like the bigger fighter, he fought like the bigger fighter. Because, ladies and gentlemen, from the opening bell, he walked right to Gervonta Davis, walked right to him, and stayed in his face all night long. If he backed up at all, ladies and gentlemen, it was 5% of the time. The other 95% of the time, he walked right to Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis caught him with some good shots. He took it and then gave it back, body punches, counter-punching, left hooks, straight rights. This brother Lamont Roach can fight, and he's beautiful defensively as well. He seemed completely unfazed and undeterred by Tank Davis, a knockout artist. On March 1, 2025, Gervonta Davis defended his WBA lightweight title against Lamont Roach at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The fight was highly anticipated, with Davis entering as the favorite due to his undefeated record and knockout prowess. Roach, despite being the underdog, delivered a
entertaining. It's a mismatch. It's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability, because of weight classes. Chris Jr. is a middleweight and a super middleweight. He's naturally a super middleweight. So, he's having to starve himself to come down and, with all the catch weights and all of this stuff, it's a mismatch.
Okay.
He is operated at world level. He's been in with the likes of George Groves and, the list goes on. It's a mismatch in ability.
The hatred that he and the hatred that he has. And I know when you really dislike someone, it brings something out of you. But, I'm looking forward to that fight. So the simple fact is that event within itself is fantastic because it's crossed over. Lots of people are talking about it. Everywhere you go, people are talking about it. There is nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely excellent. Plus, I can remember when the two fathers first fought, and when the second time was on October of of '93. But when the fathers first fought, when they first went at it, I remember that fight clearly in my head. It was a Sunday night. It was at November 18th, 1990, and it was like, it seemed like the world stopped to watch that fight. And this has drawn something from it because everybody's talking about it. And fair play to both men. They're selling the fight really well, which is genuine. It's not orchestrated. Oh, you're going to do this. No, it's proper. So I'm looking forward to that fight. Made a better man win.
So yes, attacks to the body going to be paramount. I think the jab, crucial. I think out of the two, Conor has the better jab. At times, Eubank Jr.'s jab has been non-existent. We see him starting to use his jab a little bit more under his short time with Roy Jones, but it's a shot that he neglects. So yeah, I think variation, certainly from Conor Benn, is going to be much needed on April 26th.
Obviously, we've seen quite a fiery build-up between the pair. Do you feel like Junior's trying to play up to that, trying to get beneath the skin of Conor Benn and hoping that he just disrupts him and his mentality going through his camp and ultimately leading up to fight night?
Yeah, I think so. That's maturity and experience. That's how it. But Conor's naturally fiery. Conor has that bit between his teeth. You know, he's his dad's son. His dad was as far as they come, and so was Conor. I think if Chris Eubank Jr. was placid and respectful, I think Conor would still be fiery. But yeah, he's. I would have thought he's won quite a lot of people over, Chris Eubank Jr. Although him and his dad have always been Marmite, you either love him or you hate him. I think where he's been so outspoken and he said things a lot of people probably wouldn't have. People have sort of warmed to him, but you know, there's always a goodie and a villain in a lot of these grudge matches. But this one,
performance that exceeded expectations, challenging Davis throughout the match. For me, Tank Davis fighting at -1,600 as your main event odds is crazy. That underdog lived up to the hype. He ended up overperforming. Lamont Roach, credit to him, and it took some politics to keep Davis as champion. You ever see guys getting to referee their own fight? Dude, anybody else takes that knee, you're getting counted. The referee, his instinct was to count. If you notice, Steve Willis started counting, then he looked at the timekeeper outside the ring, who wasn't counting, and he stopped. So you get to call your own timeout? Earlier in the fight, if you saw that shoulder barge that Tank did to Roach in the clinch, he didn't get a warning, but Roach's reaction got the warning. This is the politics we're dealing with. You keep doing this, you're looking at short-term money and long-term destruction of the sport. The fight's most contentious moment occurred in the 9th round when Davis took a knee, citing vision issues caused by grease from his hair entering his eyes. Referee Steve Willis did not count this as a knockdown, a decision that has been widely criticized. The match concluded with one judge scoring at 115-113 in favor of Davis, while the other two scored at 114-114, resulting in a majority draw. This outcome allowed Davis to retain his title but sparked immediate debate over the fairness of the decision. A fighter from a lower division moved up and gave Tank Davis his toughest fight. Roach was beating him on the inside, making him miss, and putting offense behind defense after making him miss. He was more active. Obviously, Tank had the edge in power and power strikes, but the stats spoke to Roach's effectiveness. The fight was not great at the start or in the middle, but it was very good down the stretch. Lamont Roach Jr. has expressed a strong desire for a rematch with Gervonta Davis following their controversial majority draw. The bout concluded with one judge scoring at 115-113 in favor of Davis, while the other two judges had it even at 114-114. A pivotal moment occurred in the 9th round when Davis took a knee citing an eye irritation, but referees...
See that one going. Very tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it because one big enough hook could change anything. But to me, his best chance are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter. You understand me? And like, even the stuff he's doing now, he's gonna continue to get better. But I think when he came down there with me for that year, it improved his foundation. You understand me? So it made him a better fighter. So he's gonna be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's small than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull off the upset that one time, so I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's gonna be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger, but it's gonna be a great fight.
You know what? A lot of people are talking about, and Roy, you know about cutting weight and whatnot. A lot of people talking about Chris Eubank Jr. now being at 160 and maybe being tight at that weight now, but the rehydration clause, £10, I'm saying, listen, with a £10 rehydration clause in it, that won't affect him at all.
That won't affect him at all, but
Absolutely.
Really. Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. lost to George Grove, he lost to Billy Joe Saunders, he doesn't box, he boxes once a year. He looked terrible in his last fight. He was slow with his jab, he was leaving his chin in the air, his balance looks like it's gone. He's 36 years old. Talking about fighting Canelo Alvarez and taking on all these top, we were talking about Triple G for a while, he's now gone 40 and retired. Conor Ben, what's Conor Ben done? He beat Chris Algieri and failed, he's failed that drug test. We're not seeing him do anything. He's fought nobody, he's not developed. He's not developed, done nothing. So for Conor Ben to jump in there with Chris Eubank Jr., the only reason that fight would be close is because they're probably going to drain Eubank down to 160, a middleweight. And then, but Conor Ben having to come up from 147. So it's not an exciting
fight. I think Conor Ben beats Eubank, but I kind of need Eubank to win. I mean, for myself, from a selfish perspective, I need him to win.
You want to fight him?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be the first defence if you win that, or when you win that WBC title? Is that someone that you would choose?
100%. 100%. As long as obviously everyone's okay with it, it'd be that. I mean, why not? It'd be the biggest fight for me next in boxing, and I haven't got long left in the 160-pound division, so it's not me going on about taking certain defenses.
Steve Willis did not rule it a knockdown. Are you open to an immediate rematch? In my contract, an immediate rematch was signed when I signed for the first fight, just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw. So when you got a rematch clause, how long are we taking? It's up to the A side and when they want to fight, so I'm thinking it's going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. What is soon to you? To me, I'm thinking July. I'm thinking July for sure. Following the bout, ROACH'S team appealed the decision, but the New York State Athletic Commission upheld the draw. This outcome led to Davis being removed from Ring Magazine's pound-for-pound rankings, with David Benavidez taking his place. It ain't no time. I would say boxing, why are you taking so long? That should have been a knockdown. That's a 10-8 round. If that's a 10-8 round, I win the fight. That draw turns into a 115-114 my way. Roach, feeling he won the fight, immediately called for a rematch, stating, I hope to be a multi-divisional world champion, and this is a fight that will solidify the legacy I want to have. Gervonta Davis secured a controversial draw against Lamont Roach in NYC. The bout featured strategic exchanges, with Roach landing sharp counters while Davis relied on his powerful straight left. As the fight progressed, Davis focused on body shots, while Roach continued to showcase defensive brilliance. Despite Davis appearing to take control, Roach's durability and counterpunching kept the fight competitive. The controversial ninth-round moment, where Davis took a knee, remains a major talking point. Roach took to social media, posting a cryptic yet confident tweet, "Word round the block, your favorite fighter 30-1, 2x champ." Critics claim that Davis intentionally took a knee to disrupt Roach's rhythm and
time, but fights are one loss on the scales. Unless you're in the camp and you're around the camp, it's difficult to make judgments. But listen, Ben's got the ferocity and he's got the art and the ferocity and art and all of that. He's got and he has looked good. He has looked good of late. When he was active. What's his name? The other guy, Eubank Eubanks, for me, he's been a little bit inactive. But he's an hard fucker and all. I'll tell you what, when his old man sent him out to New York, I forget who he was with now, but he was out in New York, you know, his old man's conditioned him. His old man, I like the job that both their fathers have done on their kids. You know, I like Eubank, the way he talks. I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off here now, but I like him. I can't say I dislike him. And Ben, and he reminds me of his old man. You know what I mean? He reminds me of his old man. So yeah, great fight, great fight. I'm looking forward to it.
And then I'll be there obviously on the night, but if I wasn't there,
what have you made of the antics?
I would be watching it.
What have you made of the antics? Do you think? I mean,
I've seen ways. I said about Chisora in throwing the table towards Dylan White. I was filming it. I was sitting in the front row of the press conference. I was at the press conference. I was laughing and joking about it, and afterwards it was okay. It was a bit of a rant by Chisora, but we expect that from Chisora. I'm not going to lie, when it happened, I laughed my head off. I absolutely laughed my head off.
I did too.
I thought it was quite poetic. I thought what happened was quite funny. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't something that, like, I had someone, Nigel, saying I thought he glassed him. I can understand by the noise of it. Things happen fast in the heat of the moment. I get it. But afterwards, all's well that ends well, really. And it's created a lot more fuss about the fight, a lot more column inches, a lot more press and publicity. All publicity is good publicity. But then the board come in and think they can find a fight of £100,000 for it.
Before the two positive clomiphene tests. Ben's dangerous early in that fight, in my view, because he's coming with all that stinging venom and kind of pent-up aggression that he's developed over the last 2.5 years. But I think Eubanks fought the better level of opponents, even though he's aged 2.5 years and he's been knocked out by Liam Smith. I go Eubank on points. What do you go?
I go Ben.
Early. Yeah, you may be right.
I just think from the history, I'd love to see the Ben family celebrate.
I'm looking forward to the build-up once they get the fathers involved. April the 26th. Nigel and Connor are both emotional. And Chris both play the villain, don't they?
Okay.
Even though I think in this one, Eubank Jr. is going to be able to sit back a little bit. Yeah, some people are saying that they don't think the fight means anything, but I think the bloodline in British sport.
Any man in the UK who's watched the dad's fight,
he will never be world champion. Is that because you don't like him?
No.
Or is that because you don't think he's got the capability?
I'll tell you the reason why. Simon's, I've been in the ring with him. I know the difference between your David Lemieux, where I can see why they were world champion, your Andy Lee's, why they were world champion, even John Ryder. Eubank can fight, but he just can't box. Right. That's the problem. He can fight, but he can't box. Eubank is, when we were going back 24, 25, like a wind-up toy, you could get him fit, wind him up, let him go, and he'd go all day. Yeah. Now we're at the stage of 33, 34, where you've got to learn to pace yourself, pick your punches, flow around. No disrespect to Liam Smith, but he was no different than a punch bag.
But you don't think he's going to win a world title?
He'll never, ever, ever be. I'll tell you what I will do with you, Simon. I'll have a bet with you now, and I'll give you 2-1, and I will pay me bets.
Well, that's not like as well, yeah.
I will pay me bets. He'll never be world
Regain
champion,
control of the fight. Many fans and analysts view this as a veteran tactic designed to break Roach's momentum. Davis clarified that the incident stemmed from a hair treatment 2 days prior to the fight. The grease from the treatment mixed with his sweat, causing a burning sensation in his eyes. During the post-fight interview, Davis expressed frustration over the booze, emphasizing that his actions were a genuine response to the unexpected irritation. "I didn't want to get caught while my eyes were burning. You can get knocked out like that, so I'd rather take the knee. But I didn't know you could get disqualified for that or that they'd start counting." The explanation has been met with mixed reactions from fans and analysts. Davis remains non-committal about an immediate rematch. "I'm not sure, bro. Hopefully, we could get it before the end of the year. But it probably won't be this year." Veteran boxing commentator Jim Lampley had initially been skeptical of Roach's chances, highlighting Davis's advantages. However, Roach's performance has shifted perceptions, making a rematch one of the most highly anticipated bouts in recent boxing history.
It'll be an interesting fight. You know, you can make I like parts of each guy. You know, I like the ability of Eubanks when he's right. You know, when his focus is there, when he's right, to be able to do things in a boxing way on the outside. And I love Ben's style and his approach. I do, where, you know, being aggressive in a responsible way, you know, in a way a fighter should be, with paying attention to, you know, doing it with defense and responsibility of defense, and, you know, just proper way to engage somebody, but the consistent offense looking to, to engage. I think it's an interesting, and again, the thing that the flowers that come with it is